When Weakness Became Salvation, The Two Simeons, by Ernesto Joseph Sandoval. At Shechem, the sons of Jacob plotted vengeance. Their sister Dinah had been defiled, and fury boiled in the hearts of Simeon and Levi. They spoke deceitfully to the men of the city, demanding circumcision as the price of peace. The men agreed, and on the third day, while the city lay in its weakness, wounded, sore, defenseless, Simeon and Levi rose with swords in hand. They struck when flesh was failing, when strength was gone, and they slaughtered every man. Genesis 34:25-29. Jacob, their father, trembled at their cruelty. His voice cut through the silence of bloodshed. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel. Genesis 49:7. And so it was. Simeon's tribe dwindled, lost, swallowed in Judah's shadow. Their name, once strong, now faded, remembered for wrath and curse. But God does not end stories in wrath. He writes them again in mirrors. Centuries later, another Simeon appeared, not on a battlefield, but in the courts of the temple. Not young and burning with fury, but old, weary, and weak. Death hovered near. His body was failing, his strength was gone. Yet within him a promise still burned. You will not see death before you have seen the Lord's Christ. Luke 2:26. Here stood Simeon, at his weakest, just as the men of Shechem had been. Yet this time, weakness would not end in slaughter. This time, weakness would be the doorway to salvation. Into his trembling arms was placed not a sword, but a child. Not death, but life itself. And in his frailty, Simeon declared, "My eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations." Luke 2:30-31. Do you see the suspense resolved? The mirror fulfilled? At Shechem, Simeon destroyed the weak. At the temple, Simeon was the weak and was redeemed. At Shechem, blood was spilled by wrath. At the temple, the blood that saves all was beheld in mercy. Thus, the word of the Lord stands true. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. The curse of Shechem found its reversal in the courts of the temple. The name once bound to wrath was remembered forever in peace. And the God who allowed Simeon to strike at weakness was the same God who allowed Simeon to be weak, so that in his frailty he might see Christ and declare salvation. Amen.